Hello everyone, this is Yflex and welcome back to another Yflex review breakdown video. So this song I'm going to be breaking down today is a song I've really enjoyed and you guys have heard in a recent mix that I re-uploaded recently. It is the Morgan Page Longest Road Vicetone 2012 bootleg remix. Oh man, this is one of the house remixes that I go back to and listen to often. This is definitely a song I really enjoy. I feel like this is one of those songs if I ever were to go live and play or DJ or whatever, I would play this song because I just like it so much. I really think Vicetone's remixes from at least this 2012 era, they're really solid. Like I listened to quite a few of them. Not that their remixes now aren't great, it's just there was something about their remixes at this time that are really good. So for this video I'm going to be breaking down the kind of radio edit version. I actually listened to the full extended mix version on my phone. I downloaded that song when it used to be free and Vicetone used to give their remixes away for free back in 2012. That's how long I've had the song file. But basically Morgan Page, The Longest Road, this is a song I feel like you used to hear a lot. I know deadmau5 plays it in a lot of his mixes, maybe even still. I know he remixed the song. And I think around this time, a lot of artists were remixing The Longest Road. I don't know, I've heard it at least in many deadmau5 set mixes. And then I feel like a few other artists too, but this is probably the best remix I've heard. So we'll kind of just break it down. It's a 128 BPM song. It's a progressive house song, but it's a little bit unique. It's not like the progressive house songs of the 2012 time. Like it's not kind of like a levels type song. It has a little bit of that vibe, but it's a little bit different. I love that white noise kind of descending and that kind of reverbed vocal chop, I almost want to say. Like it's really nice into the breakdown with the Plucks kind of starting.
We'll go so far as we please.
Oh, it's really nice here. So like you have the vocals come in along with the Plucks. The vocals aren't really right smack together. They're EQ'd really well. They're really clean vocals, and there's some reverb processing on there to kind of give it a space after like we go. Like there's a little bit of like a little tail end of reverb, and then you kind of hear the white noise kind of build up kind of into the pre-build of the song. As you see here, you kind of hear the tension of the white noise. And then there's a sound that goes psh, and then kind of breaks it down, so you'll hear the song now.
Different place, different time, all the stars are in their prime.
You hear the prime. Like they had the word prime and they kind of, I think they could have vocal chopped it, or they could have just had a lot of delay on the sound and then it kind of sounds like it's echoing almost like. And then you hear the Plucks are a little more prominent. They could be using silent, and then they could have like a, maybe like the feedback or something is a little bit stronger. So then the Plucks are more prominent.
Trailer parks are so bright to have the dark, always quiet in the yard.
So you kind of hear, yeah, like the feedback is cutting out in the Plucks itself, the vocals cutting out a little bit, and then there's more white noise high end kind of overshadowing the sounds before it's gonna drop to build that tension. But there's not really like a gap in between per se. It's kind of like it kind of fades kind of quickly and then boom.
Giddy up and go dust, all the cars turn to rust, you got no means for wanderlust. Pastel trailer parks, all is quiet in the yard.
So you notice they kind of introduce a like a percussion element. I almost want to say like kind of like a hi-hat-ish clap. There was white noise in the background, and the balancing between the vocals and the plucks is really good. Like the plucks are kind of on the low end, kind of more aggressive, and they're wider and they're like seem fuller, like they take up the space a little more, and the vocals on top take the high end space, and the plucks kind of take the mid low end space. But there's like a nice contrast where they both kind of sit easier together. Then you hear the like kind of the pluck kind of on the high end is kind of a separate thing, kind of just to have a little melody kind of play in with the white noise kind of kicking back in and with the vocal playing. So here they do a technique where you kind of stop the kick, you kind of let the sounds kind of play out, and then they're going to use some more white noise to build up tension. But that's a technique I think Maison and I used, at least in Reaching Halo, towards the end of the 2 drops, where like you just stop the kick, and for like a short measure, like it's playing just the sounds, no kick, and maybe percussion, like hi-hats and stuff, where it just plays that, but there's no kick, so there's no driving force, but then it kind of brings back into the kick. Kind of just gives it a little bit of a break, in a sense. So you notice a new lead is introduced, and then the bottom plucks, they're not so apparent anymore. Like they're not as like deep sounding, and they're not as apparent with the white noise and everything else kind of back in the mix, but you could tell like it's still really, really spaced nicely. And they give little bits of gaps kind of in there, kind of like not as long as like a full bar, but maybe for like maybe a couple kicks, and like you notice there's like a small break, and then it hits again. So for me, I like the transformation of the plucks. You kind of hear that choo-choo, like they kind of just kind of transform with like maybe frequency or feedback or some type of oscillator in, I would imagine, silent, but I just kind of like the transformation of that. You hear the kind of snare go do 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 do, and then boom, kind of like a sub drop or something of that effect to when it goes into the break. But it's kind of a nice addition there, nice touch to transition. So that was pretty cool. These the sound like just kind of like transition with the vocal. I do have to say these vocals are really clean. The artist that sings these vocals, top notch. In that section you kind of hear the plucks come back, and there's that nice kind of contrast again with the plucks and the vocals kind of playing in. You know, it's like before the end of the first drop, the plucks were kind of phasing out, and now they're more prominent again. They're not super full, but like you kind of hear the high end of the plucks, so that gives it enough space, enough kind of room for both of them the vocals and the plucks to sit. Nice effect there with almost like the echo. It sounds almost like, to me, that it goes to the right ear, left ear, right ear, left ear, but that could just be my ears. If you prefer it all to me, then my love. I always like that drop, or kind of a pre-drop, I guess. This is kind of like the dunk. I think it's like a tom or something percussion. You hear the dunk 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 dunk. I don't know. It's always a funny sound when I hear that noise, but I just know it kind of is transitioning there.
to nowhere. You pull it apart and you're just left there.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the lead sound is playing in this section, and it's kind of the same lead sound you hear in the drops. It just plays. So in the beginning of the first drop, it's just the plucks and the vocals and some white noise, and the lead comes in later, but now they're kind of playing the lead again, so you kind of remember it and kind of reintroducing it again now. So you when you hear it again in the second drop, it's not like you forget the lead, like it's you heard it like a couple times already, so you're I would almost say your brain and your ears have heard it, so they kind of know what's coming in the future. Again, it has that doonk sound. You notice the vocals in that section were really had a lot of reverb, were really full, and they had some echoing kind of an effect going on, either if they chopped the vocal or they had a lot of delay on the vocal and it just kind of echoed. I know in Ableton there's an effect called ping pong delay where you can have that effect, but I also use that ping pong delay, and I also cut the vocals. So if it's like at an A and I want that to repeat, I'll just cut that vocal and then put some ping pong delay on it, so it goes ah 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 ah, and then it's almost like it echoes, but it's more of like a manual version instead of just using the ping pong and delaying it. So they could be doing that, or a different way, or just using effects, but that's just my personal opinion on how I do it. They could do it completely different, but I just wanted to point out that they were echoing kind of vocals still.
If you fail my court, where all you must do speak for so that if you are so free.
So it's pretty cool there. Like the vocals are going, the really nice timbres in her vocals, and then you notice the kind of plucks, they're there, but they're kind of on the higher end, they're not as full. Then now here, like you notice they're a lot fuller, like they fill up more of the low end. So it's just kind of to signal like, okay, this is the break, and then we're gonna transition to the build pretty soon. Pretty cool. They have the lead playing there, kind of to build up into the drop, and then they also have that word love, and they kind of use that and then kind of vocal chopped it and repeated it to where it kind of uses that as a build along with some white noise and percussion to build up into the build up and then into the drop. They also pitch the word love quite a bit too as it repeats into the drop. So
You go down the longest road to nowhere.
you notice in this drop it had that dunk before it hit the drop, but you notice there's like a lot more white noise in this drop. I mean, there was white noise in most of the song and in the first drop too, but you notice there's a lot more white noise in this drop, and there's a lot more going on in this drop because like the vocals and more white noise and everything's playing. So I just noticed, like when I listen to the song, the second drop, there's like a lot more going on in the second drop, like as it hits. So you know there's a doo-doo-doo, like you kind of hear that lead too, but it's kind of in the kind of background to say, but you could tell like the plucks are like way more full. Like if you're not really a producer, the best way to put it is like when there's not as much high end added to the song, to the sound, they sound more simple sounding, like duk duk duk, but now they're like shuk shuk shuk. It sounds like there's more high end and kind of white noise to them. I noticed that. That probably wasn't the best example in terms of noise, but that's the best I got. But yeah, I could just tell from me listening to it that there's a lot, the plucks are wider and there's like, they're more apparent. And there's more kind of high end along with the white noise playing. And then you see here how the kick stops and is going to transition into the kind of next part within the drop. So just there was kind of a vocal chop. There's kind of a vocal chop with an echoing effect, and then you hear kind of the lead playing. This part of the remix is cool. I like it. There's a lot going on. There's quite a bit of white noise. Personally, like when I like to listen to the song, I really love the first drop because it's a little less going on. It's a little more simple. But this drop too is really good. It's just there's a lot more going on, as you notice. There's kind of the lead, there's a lot of white noise, the plucks are kind of fuller, so there's just a lot more going on for your ears to hear. And then there's like the echoing vocals and stuff like that. So for the sake of, I think, this video, they actually kind of filter the sounds out to end the song, because I think in the extended mix, I don't think they filter the sounds out quite like that. I think they do use some automation and like maybe take down the feedback and make the plucks not as full and stuff, but I can't remember if they actually use a filtering, because this is the radio edit version, so they might not do that. And they're just ending the song quickly, but yeah, that's kind of like how the song ends. And then so in the extended mix, I think there's a minute intro, minute outro of just kick, snare, and some percussion and some synths playing. Overall, this remix is definitely up there for a lot of the Vicetone remixes in this 2012 time. They're a good amount. I mean, if you wanna, I might even do videos on them, but I recommend the Z Clarity remix. I recommend the Sparks remix. That's one of my favorites from Vicetones in terms of remix. Bulletproof. Weapon, and there might be a couple others at the moment I don't remember, but yeah, those are some really good remixes from them. I hope you guys enjoyed the song. So as you can tell, with this song it's a little bit different. There wasn't as much sidechain as you would hear some other progressive house songs at this time. This one was more of kind of like a plucky, kind of chill song. There was a lot of white noise in certain parts, but the first drop I think was simpler in terms of the first and the second drop. There was just less going on in the very first part of the drop, so you get a little more of an impact. The plucks seemed a little bit fuller, but I did like the effects for the vocals. Those are some things I might have to take note of in the future if I ever work with vocals again. The clarity of the vocals, even for this remix in 2012, is amazing. And just the overall spacing between the plucks and the vocals is really good. And kind of the effects and the reverb effects and the amount of white noise they use. Personally, I used to use white noise a lot in the past, and I kind of got tired of the white noise, so I stopped using it. I think Vicetone has as well, but it does add an element to the song. It just adds kind of extra noise into the song. Overall, I mean, the song is obviously a 10 out of 10 for me. So this is a different progressive house song. I hope you guys liked my breakdown. Wasn't anything too intuitive. If you hadn't heard the song, go back and listen to the song fully, because I paused and played the song and stopped and started the song just to kind of break down the song for me, just talking about it. But again, just remember the song was made in 2012, and I don't know, Vicetone's kicks in those times seem to be they hit a little harder than some of the kicks they use now. Not sure if they had more high end at that time, but overall, a great remix. You guys should listen to it. And if you guys, again, like this video, please leave a comment in the video. Like the video, of course, but leave a comment if you want to see more videos. Eventually you guys might be able to suggest or kind of request videos that I kind of break down, but for now it's just going to be me doing videos and songs I personally like. And overall, if you like my channel, subscribe. I'm going to try and do this more often. I think this is an easier way for me to kind of connect with you guys and just give my insight as an amateur producer into what I kind of hear in the songs that, some other people might miss. I've listened to these songs so many times that I find something new each time I listen to these songs. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video and this song, and have a good one. Peace.
Thank you.